So from a military perspective, this ICC announcement, does it change anything?
Ultimately, it depends how Putin responds to it. But if we look 1 year on into Putin's special military operation, it looks likely his objectives were Crimea to the south and Donbass to the east. There's been fierce fighting in the Donbass because he's still trying to take the bit he doesn't own. But it does look like that Russian offensive is stalling. Russia desperately needs more soldiers, but particularly more equipment as well. And most military analysts, that would take time. Most military analysts think he's coming up to a point where he's got choices. One of those choices was to pursue peace talks, because if he was to do that, he would probably stop Ukraine mounting their spring offensive. It would buy him time, potentially give him an off-ramp. And also, it sounds like China's positioning itself to be some sort of broker for peace as well. The other alternative for Putin is just to keep grinding on with this war with massive more casualties. Now, Russia doesn't respect the International Criminal Court, but it will make it more difficult for Putin to travel around. And if he was inclined to start engaging in peace talks, the danger is that brings the end of the conflict closer, which actually is probably at the moment not what President Putin wants. So I suspect that this decision is almost certainly going to prolong and cause President Putin just to stiffen his resolve.
What role do these international institutions like the ICC, like the UN, what role do they have to play? Can they take meaningful action?
No, really, but there's a lot of talk yesterday that Russia should be expelled from the United Nations, but I think that could happen. They have limited teeth, the G7, the G20, all these, but their aim is actually to create an environment in which countries that are not generally aligned can at least talk, negotiate and find a way of easing tensions to try and stop them ending up concluding in acts of war. So notwithstanding what President Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine, there are many who would argue that that's not justification for expelling out of the UN, because that could be counterproductive in the longer term. From a Western perspective, I think the decision to indict Putin looks like a major event and a significant development. But from Putin's perspective, he's almost certainly sees this as a minor speed bump, and we're not going to see him in court anytime soon.
We have seen him today, though, haven't we? Because it's the 9th anniversary of the illegal annexation of Crimea, and he's visited the region. Yes,
he does like to celebrate the visits to these anniversaries. Normally they celebrate with some sort of concert or some sort of rally. Apparently today in Crimea there was a youth rally. There were some big banners being waved that says, "Russia doesn't start wars, it ends them," which is a slight irony based on the facts. But it's also, Russia took the opportunity. They've managed to reopen the Kerch Bridge. If you remember, that was damaged. It's been opened 39 days early, coincidentally on this anniversary. Putin, it's very important to Putin. It's a link between Russia and Crimea. Obviously, it was opened in 2018, but in October last year, a series of explosions caused a lot of damage. Now it's back, passable to road traffic, and that's important for Russia because this is a vital arterial link for Russia's military invasion force into Ukraine.